Good morning, YouTube. This morning we're going to talk about the 3 ongoing steps to becoming or being wealthy, and those are talked about in a book called Napoleon Hill called Richest Man in Babylon. Last video we talked about the first 2 steps to becoming wealthy, so you can look at the video down below talking about those, and that basically talks about how to start and the thinking, which is different. If you think, I've been doing this for 10 years, then possibly you need to look in the details of what you're doing versus what this is talking about, how to do it, and see what the difference is, and possibly change what you're doing and start back from scratch. So I want to get right into this. I kind of just wrote them down for you. These are covered on a summary on page, if you want to take a screenshot of that, 63 of The Richest Man in Babylon. And in the book he goes through a lot of examples and things, but we'll cover these 3 things. So number 1, invest under the advice of a man wise in investing. Now, you think that, oh yeah, I know people that are wise investing, but the fact is you need to have a skill set to determine who is actually wise at investing money, and how do you determine that? So for instance, let's say you go to Edward Jones or one of those brokerage offices and you say, this guy's investing money, he's very wise at it, and I'm going to have him take care of my money for me. Well, my question to you and to him would be, if you're so wise in investing money, why are you still working? Because at age, let's say 50 years old, you've been investing your money for 25 years, there's no reason you have to work. His best answer should be, hey, I'm too young, maybe I'm only 32, I'm only doing it for 7 years, or maybe he's not retired, he's still investing because he's just doing it for fun. And so those are the answers. So just having a credential or being an investment officer or a CFA may mean that he knows more than you, but it does not mean that he is wise in investing. And so number 2, you lose investments in things you're not familiar with. So there's a story in the book about a guy who's been saving his 10%, like we talked about, to build wealth. This is not for retirement. This is not for cars or houses or emergency funds. This is simply to build wealth. And he takes the money and he gives it to a guy that goes and buys jewels. Well, turns out the guy's a camel trader. And so he doesn't know jewels. And so he put the money in something he was unfamiliar with. The guy was not skilled in, and his money was gone. He started over at his 10%. Kept going then, but all the money was gone. So start over. You made a bad move. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. But his second investment was with somebody that was a sheep herder, and it was in sheep. And so it was something the guy was very familiar with, the guy was trustworthy, and that kind of an investment might pay off. So don't give people money to do something they're not very, very, very skilled in. If you're giving someone else money, and yourself, do it the same way. Either keep it into a neutral thing like the ETF until you find that investment or build that skill, or don't put it in those things. So number 3, money flees the person trying to gain impossible returns. One of the things I learned from Warren Buffett was that he puts a lot of money into things like windmills and energy companies, and those only give him about a 6% return payout on that money. 6, okay? Not 10, not 8, not 12. And so a 6% return is what the richest man, one of the richest men in the world is getting as a return, as a good return. And he does other things that have a different rate of return for investments, such as, he has a candy company that has a higher rate of return on capital. But when he plows money, he's plowing money into things with that kind of return. And so when you think about it, that means that you're putting maybe $100 into something, you're getting $6 back a year. And you might be greedy and trying to push and say, I want $20 back a year, or I can put in $100. A good return is $100 in 2 months. Now that's not a good return. That's more like theft or highway robbery. Now I'll go back to the second one up here, which is wisely invested, creates returns and multiplies like the sheep in the field. A sheep in the field do give you 100% return. There are things that do, but those are actual investments. Those are not things you can just put money in and they pay out 6%. And so I kind of lately have been differentiating between these wise investments that multiply like the sheep in the fields, and you have skill in, and you build skill in, and you know what the money return is, and then an investment that you put into and it maybe just pays you out 6%, or maybe it's a treasury or things like that. So I wanted to share those three things with you this morning. Add those to the two that we talked about last week, and so now you have two to start with, some thinking to do about those things. You should have already gotten the book last week. If you didn't, then shame on you. It's $12. Maybe you perceive buying books wrong, because a class at college may cost you $400 and teach you less. That book may cost you $12 and teach you more. So really, when you value what you learn as the outcome for learning rather than a piece of paper or someone else checks off a mark and says you had this class, that really changes your thought process on that stuff. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and just like and subscribe down below if you want more. After this, my next video, I'm going to cover an investment I looked at, and we'll talk about that later. Bye.